Hello and welcome back to the Canary Chat channel. Today we have a video where we will be ranking all our ins and outs from this very busy transfer window, seeing how overall we think we did, if there's anything that we potentially missed. I want to hear your opinions as well. If you disagree with the rankings, leave a comment down below. But yeah, let's get straight into it. We'll start with the outgoings first of all. So we had 3 goalkeepers go out on loan. So we've had Barden, George Long and Reyes. I've put them all as A pluses. I think they all needed to go out on loan or potentially permanently, some of them, but as long as they're kind of off the books per se, and that we've got obviously our new signings with the goalkeepers, we've got more than enough, and we've got Anson as well in the youth setup if we ever needed another third choice goalkeeper if something went wrong. Dan Barden and Reyes, I do think it's potentially maybe their time's coming soon. I think the fact we've signed 3 goalkeepers isn't an optimistic sign for them. I think Reyes probably the most likely out of those 2 to stay if there is any kind of options, just due to the loan that he got. He got that Peterborough loan, compared to Barden's Dagenham and Redbridge. He's 24 as well, Barden, I believe, so there is a bit of an age difference between him and Reyes is getting that better loan option. And George Long got his loan to Southampton, kind of experienced third choice with what they're looking for, and managed to get that. I think in general a very strong start. We needed to clear out goalkeepers with the keepers that we brought in. I think loan moves to 2 slightly younger players is the better option. George Long, I think most of us would have liked to have seen him just moved off the books completely, but I do think that will just inevitably come anyway next year. We then have Brad Hills, who left for Stockport, I believe around that £1 million deal mark. I think a centre-back that everyone had high hopes for and just didn't really seem to seize the opportunities that he did have, and slowly fell down the pecking order. Moved to Stockport for around about the £1 million mark. I'll put that as B plus. Like, I think we've put in a sell-on fee anyway, sell-on clause within that deal. So if he does get a big move, we should profit from that. I couldn't see him getting ahead of the 3 centre-backs we've currently got. And to be honest, Crescene, when he's been playing kind of left centre-back within the 3, was doing really well as well. So I think it was probably best for both parties that he did go. He's gone to Stockport. He's already loved there. So yeah, I think for the club and Brad Hills, that was a relatively good deal. I think it's just a shame. I thought he could have been really good for us, but yeah, just didn't necessarily capitalise on those opportunities he was given. We then have the big one. So obviously Núñez to Ipswich, 7.5 million up front, 2.5 million, I believe, if they get promoted. A lot of kind of emotions when this was originally announced. A lot of people couldn't believe that we sold to Ipswich, and that, yeah, we should never even enter contract negotiations with them in exchange of players. It's a little bit of a tough one for me. If Núñez was wanting the move and Núñez was adamant that it was going to happen and he was going to leave on a free anyway, I wouldn't want that kind of attitude to seep into other players or bring the attitude of the whole dressing room down. So I've actually marked it as an A. I do think we got decent money for him. He's not as injury prone as people make out to be, but he does normally miss kind of 10 to 12 games potentially. And yeah, he also does go missing a lot. There are times that he can do kind of 3 or 4 games without doing anything, and then 5th game he could be absolutely unbelievable and unplayable. Those clips can make a nice little YouTube montage, but I think he's good. He showed his value to us for the games that he played this season. We did look really good when he did play, but again, it can kind of swing back around ever so quickly with Núñez. So I do think in total a potential £10 million package is decent. 7.5 million is not too bad either. So that's why I've gone with an A rather than kind of an A plus or anything like that. And then we have the big saga at the start of the window, which was Borja Sainz to Porto. So a lot of kind of, again, add-ons included in this one. It's around about, I think, the £14.5 million mark or something along those lines. For a player that had a very good purple patch towards the start of last season, he did tail off a lot towards the end of the season. He had maybe 3 to 4 exceptional months where he was outperforming every metric you could imagine as a winger. He was one of the top goal scorers in the league, even though he didn't score for like 3 months after November or something. I think I've rated it an A. I think it was a good deal. I don't think it was necessarily something that was surprising to fans. I think we all knew he was going to go. Decent money for someone that had 3 or 4 good months. The year before he was still good, but he wasn't exceptional. And yeah, I think if someone the year before would have offered you that money, you would have definitely taken it. So I think it's a relatively, once again, decent deal that we've kept good finances. There'll be another sell-on clause in there as well. And I do generally think, as outgoings go, we've had a pretty good start. There's still a few potentially could happen. Shane Duffy, there's still potential that I think it's the Turkish window doesn't shut until the 11th. Duffy and Slimani have had interest from Turkish teams, so they could both still go. And if they were to go, I think they'll both be A's as well. You're getting a fair wedge of the wage bill taken off in one fell swoop. Probably won't get loads in transfer fee, but that wage bill does free up us to go and get more players. So as outgoings go, I think the general consensus is I would mark it as an A. Now into the incomings. So first one, we're going to do it in kind of transfer fee order, is Louis Molden. Came from Paris under 21s, free transfer. I've rated B-. He's not going to see a lot of first team football. I think he is probably a better calibre than what we had as third choice around Reyes. But away from that, not too much to talk about. So gone with a B- for Molden. We've then got Jeffrey Schlupp from, well, he's a free transfer, but he was at Crystal Palace. He went on loan to Celtic. I was really excited when we signed him, and yeah, it obviously with like all these transfers, it's quite early to judge, but this is all just based off kind of initial what we've seen. I've put Schlupp as a C. I haven't seen loads to kind of say that he should be our starting left back. I think Chris Enne's looked really good, I personally think, in these first few games in that left back or left centre back role. And then we've got Mahovo that will be coming back. So Schlupp could potentially fall to third choice left back. He's going to be on not huge wages, but a significant sum. Free transfer, not huge risk, but for me, yeah, it's just not seeming to pay off at the moment, which is a shame. Hopefully, if he gets a bit more fitness, we can maybe see a bit of a better kind of performance from him. But at the moment, I think a lot of Norwich fans seem a little bit underwhelmed, but takes time to settle into a new club, takes time to get up to fitness. We then have Harry Darling. Obviously, he was at Swansea. We picked him up on a free transfer. I mean, he is the best centre-back in the league, an absolute Rolls Royce of a player. If I could give him a plus, I would, but I was just going with 1A+. I think he is a great player. I think future Norwich City captain. I'm running out of superlatives to say around how good of a player he is. And I think the biggest compliment is that we've needed him, that I haven't seen a centre-back like him for so long at the club. The club have been screaming out for a player that is so defensively switched on as well as can progress the ball up the pitch. I think I have no idea why a bigger club than us in the Championship didn't go for him, like a Southampton or a lower Premier League club. He can play Premier League football. There's no doubt about that. He will be Premier League football, I imagine, very soon. He's only 25, so I'd like us to keep a hold of him forever. But I genuinely think if he plays the way that he's playing, next year, maybe year after, he'd probably get a Premier League move, which I hope doesn't happen. But as a free transfer goes, he is one of the best out of this whole transfer window for any team, in my opinion. We then have Dan Grimshaw. I think the fee was around 600 odd thousand from Plymouth. I've put as a B, again, a backup goalkeeper. He's looked okay, looked a bit shaky front post a couple of times. He clearly plays the way that Manning wants to play. with kind of the way that he passes the ball, but it's not always 100% convincing. And yeah, it is again hard to say with the kind of cup games we've seen him. He hasn't looked overly convincing. In that Watford game, he was beaten front post. The Southampton game, I don't think there was like loads that were down to him. It was more poor defending in general. But as a second choice goalkeeper, I think a B is fairly generous. We've then got McCammah, so 21-year-old, signed from Lincoln, around that £1 million mark. He does look like he is going to be a third choice striker, Fitzgoran playing that cam/striker role behind Sarge. The cameos that I've seen him make, he has looked very impressive. He looks raw but impressive. He's a big lad, really quick feet as well. More than happy to hold the ball up and challenge. And I've rated him as a B. I think there's a lot of potential there. I just don't think we're probably going to see it loads at this point in time. But I just really hope he gets more game time. He gets 1 or 2 goals, and I think that momentum could be huge for him. And then he could potentially become second striker, and Fitzgoran could find himself more as a cam rather than a striker behind McCammah if Sargent is not available. We then have Jakov Medic, a 26-year-old centre-back who we signed from Ajax. I believe he's on loan at Bochum. Last year, around about, I think, that 1.6, 1.7 million pound mark. Hasn't had the easiest of starts to his Norwich career. I do think the last game he looked his most accomplished, and hopefully that's now him settling in. He has looked a bit shaky in places, especially first few games. I also think the 5 at the back doesn't lean into his strengths. I think he's pretty good with distribution. He's clearly a physical centre-back, but the one thing he does not have is pace, and he does get exposed when you're playing that 3 at the back. And unfortunately, that's not something he can help, really. Kind of, you're as fast as, when you're a professional athlete like that, you're not going to become rapid. You are where you are, and the kind of your pace is where your pace is at, and it's only going to get slower, if anything, the older you get. So he needs to be played in a system that benefits him, which makes him comfortable. That 4 at the back does seem to be doing that the few times we've played that. When he's played in that system, for me, he's looked a bit more assured because he's got that more right back cover. So I've gone with a B-, just purely down to the first few games. He did look really shaky, but he does seem to be growing into it. We then have Kovacevic, so signed for Sporting, around about that 2.2 million, I think. Serbian goalkeeper. He is a madman, and he's settled in so well. I think we've gone from very calm-headed Angus Gunn to Vlad, who was just mental. I'm here for it. Penalty saves, some unbelievable saves in the recent game with that double save against Blackburn. And I just think, yeah, he's settled in brilliantly. He's got huge potential. I know he's 27. That's not old for a goalkeeper at all. He will make an error or two across the season. He will give us heart attacks, but I genuinely think the reaction saves and the confidence he'll bring to the back line, the commanding of his box that we didn't necessarily have with Gunn, I think that will pay dividends. I've gone with an A- because, yeah, as I said, there have been a couple of goals near post, which personally, and I think most people in general, thought he could have done better with. But he's once again getting used to a new club, used to a new country as well. And yeah, I absolutely love him. I think he's brilliant, and I just wish he will do the best he can possibly do. So hopefully that A-. By the end of the season, when we do a review, that'll be an A+. We then have Jacob Wright, signed from Man City, around 2.5 million. Went with B+, had a look, started the first couple of games, then looked a little bit shaky. There seems to be this weird witch hunt for him, which is just ridiculous. Still very young. He's only 19. You've got to give him some chance to develop. A lot of pressure was put on his shoulders early on. And yeah, I think people thought that he would be this outstanding player that just magically appears. I think he showed towards the end of last season how good of a player he can be. and how important he can be for us. But once again, he's now being asked to play in a different system. I think the system probably doesn't lean as much into his talents as what Thorpe's system did, but he has definitely got a huge ceiling, and for me, could be hugely important and will be hugely important for us. With Nunez leaving, we've got him, Topic, McLean, and then Gibbs. But for me, he should be kind of in and around that starting lineup. So I went with a B plus there. Got Pele Matson for about 2.8 million. Again, another central midfielder. Gone with a B plus. We haven't seen anything of him. We can't judge anything off of what we've seen. So because there isn't anything. If you go off of kind of reviews, he does play kind of a hybrid role, and he can play that defensive as well as attacking mindset. But yeah, I don't want to say kind of he'll be amazing either way. I've gone with B, just slap bang in the middle. I hope the Danish David Fox will be an A plus. He's got a lot of attributes which I feel like could work really well in the Championship, but we haven't got enough to judge him. So gone with the B. We then have Miko Topic, defensive midfielder, signed from Famalicão from the Portuguese league, around about the £3.2 million mark. I've put an A plus for him. I think although he's had maybe one quiet game, he is the defensive midfielder we've needed, and he's looked really good when he plays. He's really comfortable on the ball, got really good feet. His pass distribution's really good. I think the times that we've seen him struggling have been, again, more formation or personnel based, where he's not getting the support needed and he's a little bit outnumbered. But for me, Mirko Topic has the potential to be an unbelievable player for us. So I went with an A plus there. And then we've got a back-to-back A plus. I've got Diallo, 21-year-old, signed from Met, Senegalese. About that kind of 4.5 odd million, I believe, around that mark. There's something about him. His technical ability is unbelievable. But I just think back to this first time cross against Portsmouth on the volley. It was an unbelievable cross. He's obviously had like one outstanding game, so Watford, and the others he's been a little bit quieter on, but he is a player with potential. That's why we've bought him. He is raw. He's not going to kind of be the person that just grabs us by the scruff of the neck and drags us through a game at this point in time. He's going to have time to settle in, but his technical ability is outrageous for that age, and I'm hoping we can just nurture him in to make him hugely prolific. He doesn't scream kind of that ball has signs to cut in, shoot that from range. He seems a bit more of a provider. Wouldn't surprise me if he gets more assists than goals this year from the way that he plays. But I'm very excited to see the development of Diallo, because I do just think he could be hugely important. And one thing we're lacking at the moment is a creative flair in that final third, and I'm hoping he can provide that. And then last is Fitzgoran. So he's about 7.5, I think, million, or 7 million. Signed from Bromby, 23-year-old, can play striker, can play can play on the left, but Bromby fans do not like us suggesting that. I've gone with just a flat B. Again, I haven't seen loads of him to really judge. When he has come on, he's looked all right. Hasn't looked kind of groundbreaking, but once again needs time to settle in. Bromby fans think the absolute world of him, so there's definitely a player there. It's how we get him more game time, more comfortable within the Championship. But yeah, he is the most expensive transfer we've had, and he hasn't maybe been the most impactful. And we have had that with kind of Jurasek in January. Spent a lot of money, not hugely impactful. So it may just take time for them to settle in, which isn't ideal, but it's something we're going to have to suck up and just hope that over through the season that we are kind of improving them and making them a better attacking force. Because the one thing I think we've really not addressed this transfer window is that attacking midfielder role. We need flair. Forson's injured. Schwartau looks like he's not necessarily going to be in and around the picture for that starting cam role. Fitzgoran can play there, as I said, but not up to speed. I feel like we need to find a kind of ready-made attacking midfielder that's going to thread those balls through to Sarge and get Sarge to however many goals he wants this year. For me, that is the biggest kind of downer on this window. I think in general, if we were to rate it all, it's probably kind of an A minus if you take incomings, outcomings. I think to get any higher than that, we needed that attacking midfielder. Most importantly, we've kept hold of Josh Sargent, which in itself is a huge coup, and that we should kind of nearly include this in the fact that we've kept him, because there's a lot of interest and he's an unbelievable player. He's come out and said that he's happy at Norwich, family wise, football wise. He's scoring goals, puts him in good contention for the World Cup. But yeah, if you include the Josh Sargent news, it probably goes to an A. A equals, and it's just that attack midfielder that we lack. But away from that, I'm a very happy man with this transfer window. What are your thoughts? Leave a comment down below on your thoughts on the transfer window. As always, if you've enjoyed, like and subscribe, and we will see you. We've got a new series coming up that I'm working on. May take a little bit of time to come out, but we will see you in the next video. And yeah, have a good evening.